Hello everybody, Matt here and welcome to this brand new episode. I hope you're all doing very well. Now, I know that it's been a long time since I've done a video on YouTube. In fact, it's been a very long time. I just want you guys to know that I'm not dead. I do apologize for the lack of posting. I have just been very busy. In fact, Christmas and New Year was just way too busy for me, hence why I couldn't, post in general. Now, in today's review, we're going to go to 1998. To this fragrance right here, and this is the one and the only Boss Bottled by Hugo Boss. Stay tuned, guys. So since I've been, psyched on fragrances for as long as I can remember, I've had to experience a lot of different fragrances throughout the world, throughout different years and whatnot. So it's been a right journey for me, and this one is definitely a scent that I've enjoyed. It's a scent that I've always wanted to own in my collection after smelling it all these years. It's a classic fragrance. It's a great scent that I think every man needs to try, and I cannot wait to review this fragrance, guys. So let's go a little bit more into the house of Hugo Boss. So they were founded in Germany in the 1920s, and ever since then they have become a very popular fashion house, but they've also had their fair share of amazing fragrances that have been released over the years, not to mention fragrances like Hugo, Energize, and not to mention the first fragrance that came out in 1985, number 1, which is simply known as Boss. So this fragrance came out in 1998, so it has been out for a long time, and the perfumer is the one and the only Nick Minardo. She's a fantastic perfumer. I think she's fantastic. She's created fragrances like YSL Body Kuro. She's also, created fragrances like Discreet Potion, and not to mention Lolita Lempicka Eau Masculine, which is an amazing fragrance. To be honest, all those fragrances that I've listed are pretty fantastic scents. And the one thing that I've noticed with Nick Minardo is there's always like a similarity between all of her fragrances. It's almost like she has her own trademark and she adds them into her fragrance creation. So I do like that. Now, I'm not going to go through all the details and, all the bull crap into what this fragrance is intended to be, because I want to give you guys my honest preference. So Boss Bottled was a scent that I got experienced with many years ago. In fact, it was probably around the time that I first started getting into fragrances. Although Boss Bottled was always one of those fragrances that I never really thought I would own because of its price range. It was always, it's not an expensive fragrance, but it was always out of my budget, especially as a young kid, especially as a 16-year-old, like expensive and too chic for someone like me at the time. This was a scent that was just a little bit too much on the classy side. However, now, since the older I've become and the more psyched I became on fragrances, this is a solid one for me. Now guys, let's go through my 5 steps. The first step, we're going to be looking at the bottle design. We're going to be talking about the way the bottle looks and if it's efficient or not. Then we'll be talking about the way the smell is, so if it's a good smell, if it's a bad smell. Also be going into a little bit about the longevity and sillage, so how long this fragrance lasts, how it projects on your skin. Then we'll be talking about the setting, so when I think this fragrance would be perfect for someone. And then we'll just be going through an overall rating, guys, on, my personal opinion on what I think of this fragrance. So let's go ahead and talk about the first step, which of course is the presentation. Let's do it. Presentation-wise is actually pretty simple, if I'm honest with you. This bottle is nothing fancy. It's nothing too out there. It's a very nice, simple bottle. We get Boss, which is very famous on this bottle design. We get the Boss, which is indented in the glass. And we get Hugo Boss in what appears to be very funny looking. It's just because literally the writing is backwards, and if you show the fragrance this way, you can see that it says Hugo Boss on the other side, like right there. You can see that it says Hugo Boss. So it's a nice feature. We got on the bottom here just some information. I believe this fragrance used to be manufactured by Procter & Gamble. Now I believe I believe Hugo Boss are now bought out by Coty in terms of their fragrances. So in terms of the cap, it just comes off like this. It's plastic, but it's not exactly a cheap plastic. It's pretty good. Atomizer looks like this. I'll spray it on my skin in a second. And the juice is like a very nice yellow. It's very nice colored, very elegant. So yeah, nothing too groundbreaking when it comes to the bottle design, but it is very simplistic and I do like it. So guys, let's go ahead and talk about the smell. Now let's go ahead and apply. It's got a decent sprayer actually. It doesn't give you like a whole blast of juice, it just gives you the right amount. We'll stick the fragrance on there, okay? Let's talk about the smell. So, now the opening of this fragrance is very sweet and it's very smooth. We get notes like Granny Smith apple. We also get a little bit of cinnamon in there. and not to mention bergamot. So we do get a lot of zestiness, we do get a lot of spices, and we do get a lot of sweet notes. That Granny Smith apple is just delicious. Like, it isn't in your face like a lot of other fruit notes. Like, a fragrance that I really, well, not that I really don't like, but I probably don't really like that much is Invictus by Paco Rabanne. That opens up with an apple note, but it's very sweet and it's very in your face. So I'm just using that one as an example. But this one, this is very much on the smooth side. This is a very elegant apple note. It's just, wow. This is spicy, it does have spicy tones, but it's definitely not a spicy scent. The opening of this fragrance is just very nice, slightly fruity, sweet, a little bit on the soft side with that Granny Smith apple, and then it just turns into this very nice, zesty sort of cinnamon type of scent. It's just really, really nice, guys. Now, after about 20 minutes, the fragrance still remains quite sweet, but it definitely gets much softer, which is to be expected. And in the middle, we get the note of Tajet. I believe I pronounced that right. I'll just post it under here. And it's a type of marigold, and marigolds come from the sunflower family, so a lot of people don't really like the note of marigold. A lot of people say that it smells like a dead flower. And to me, I don't really want to smell like a dead bouquet of flowers, but to me, I don't really get anything pungent or a dead flower smell from this, so I wouldn't say I got any type of Tajet or marigold whatsoever. We do also get geranium and clove as notes enlisted in this fragrance, but I don't really get them. I mean, I suppose I do get a bit of a cloveness out of this fragrance, but it's not too strong like fragrances like Giacomo di Giacomo or, you know, fragrances like Superman by Al Rahab, which are just clove bombs. This one isn't really like that. The dry down comes into play probably around after 3 hours, so once the 3 hours come in, the smell is very close to your skin, but it's fantastic. It's a beautiful dry down. We get notes like sandalwood, we get cedarwood, vetiver, and olive wood. And this fragrance just turns into like a pencil shavings with hints of sweet apple juice with toasted cinnamon in the background. And to me, that's perfect. Now, Boss Bottled is sadly a mid-range thumbs up for me in terms of longevity. I find that this fragrance really dries down slowly, probably just after the 3rd hour, but mainly into the 4th hour. It just becomes pretty much gone after that 5th hour approaches. So yeah, I get a good 5 hours without reapplication, so it's not bad, but would I recommend reapplying this fragrance? Yeah, sometimes if you do wear a good fragrance, you do want to reapply. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with reapplying this fragrance. Even though this fragrance is absolutely gorgeous in terms of quality and smell in the beginning, it does fade very quickly, so reapplying, you know, really wouldn't be that bad. So yeah, it sucks, but that doesn't make me hate this fragrance or anything. I just, you know, I think it could last longer, but the fact that it doesn't isn't necessarily a bad thing because I do enjoy the smell and I do enjoy wearing it, so yeah. The sillage is also quite good. It projects for a good hour or so, about 2 feet away. So it's great, especially if you want to impress someone. So yeah, actually, we're about to talk about the perfect setting for this fragrance. So I'll talk mainly about that in this step. I find that Boss Bottled works great in places like restaurants, a bar, or even somewhere social. But of course, you guys can wear it whenever you want. That's just my opinion. I find the apple and cinnamon combo just works well for colder weather. Also, I just wanted to throw that in. So definitely an autumn time and winter fragrance just because of that spicy and sweet combination of the apple and cinnamon. Lovely. So guys, now that we've looked at the steps, let's look at the overall ratings for Boss Bottled. Here we go. Now, when it comes to the smell, I like to rate them in 5 different levels. I like to list it from bad to good, so I want to list it from forgetful, bad, generic, great, or masterpiece. So to me, Boss Bottled is going to get a solid rating of great. So that's a solid rating of 7 to 8 out of 10. It's a scent that was even so popular at its time back in 1998, and it's a fragrance that's timeless, and I don't think it's ever going to go out of fashion. I love it. I think it's a beautiful smell. I think it's definitely a scent that could work formal and, you know, casual settings. It's gorgeous. I don't know anybody that, you know, really hates this fragrance. So in terms of smell, it gets a great. Overall rating for bottle design, well, I'm not going to lie. It's not the best bottle design in the world, but it's very simplistic and it's a classic looking bottle. So I like to rate this in 4 levels, guys. So I like to rate it from bad to worse. I like to rate it from cheap, acceptable, decent, or masterpiece. Now, to me, Boss Bottled is a nice bottle design, but it's certainly not cheap, that's for sure. So I'm going to rate it 7 out of 10. The Boss logo in the bottle is just gorgeous, and I'm going to give that a solid decent. So a decent, that gets 7 to 8 out of 10. Let's talk about the longevity now, guys. So the longevity is rated in 5 different levels. I like to rate it from weak to good to decent, powerhouse, and nuclear. So in this fragrance, in terms of its longevity, it lasts for around 4 to 5 hours, so it gets a solid good. It doesn't last any longer than 5 hours without reapplying, so it's not bad, not brilliant, but it's good. Now, I know the longevity is something that we all want in a fragrance, you know, but when it doesn't last a long time, like Boss Bottled, it's okay to me. Some smells smell so good that it really doesn't matter how long it lasts. Sometimes you just have to have the overall pleasure of smelling a good smell. Overall, it's an iconic scent, and I do enjoy it. So guys, you should let me know in those comments what you thought of this review and what you think of the infamous and very classic Boss Bottled by Hugo Boss. So guys, thank you so much for watching this fragrance review. It's an amazing fragrance, this. I would highly recommend that you guys check this out. Like I said, it's well known, but there'll be a large sum of you who might not have heard of this fragrance. So after seeing this review, if you enjoyed it, let me know in those comments, guys. It's so good to be back on here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Please let me know in those comments, guys. Love to know what your scent of the nights are and how you guys are doing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.